This is a disclaimer that I am trying to decolonize the way that we perceive credentials. With that being said, I don't have any formal training certificates in what I'm going to be talking about. Rather, this is all from personal life experience and the experience of my community. This video is about helping friends with addiction. My first question to you is, what does that look like to you? For me, this would often involve me imposing my will upon other people. It would be me coming from a place where I recognized that they were doing something that I didn't like, so I would impose what it was that I saw as fit over them. I would typically use a shaming mechanism where I would tell them, oh, you can't go 5 minutes without your vape, or I would shame them for the ways in which they were so desiring of their coping. Other times, I would try to create distance from them and their coping by telling them that what they were doing is bad and causing just unnecessary harm. What I would then do is threaten or follow through on distancing myself from them, despite not receiving any psychological, emotional, or physical harm or threats of harm. I would seek to punish the individual rather than seeking to care for them. I want to create space to acknowledge that intentions from the best places will not always cause an impact that is good. My personal misguided attempts at constructive criticism were really a vain attempt of controlling the individual to do what I wanted. Never once did I sympathize with their pain. Never once did I understand where they were coming from. And none of these attempts actually did anything towards the true goal of healing the wounds that bring about addiction. As time passed, I realized that my attempt of shaming the individual wasn't working. Rather, it would tend to drive the individual farther away from me and could even promote them sinking further into their habit. Now, with one less pillar of support, one less means of comfort, one less person to turn to for help, how could we expect them to be stronger? Now, cutting someone off ultimately is your choice and should not be made lightly. However, this video is not going to center around leaving friends without support. So here I was again, realizing that my attempts to help and heal were causing more harm than I could have imagined. It left me in a place where I realized that my concern, my worry, my fear for this individual would only breed more concern, worry, and fear, never resolution. This led to me seeking a new method. This led to me embracing radical acceptance. I had to accept that my desire to help others was truly a desire to help myself. I've struggled with my own forms of addiction, from food to video games early in life, later into psychedelics and tobacco, and even my addictions of patterns of self-harm that I haven't expressed yet. I've dealt with and still currently struggle through my own personal vices, and these have all constructed for me an understanding of what addiction is. That being the use of something to cope with reality. Whether that was the way that virtually every dollar I spend goes into the pockets of people who seek to exploit me, the absolute powerlessness that I feel to stop the many genocides that are happening worldwide, or even the seemingly unending number of childhood traumas that I continue to unpack day by day. All of these lead me to seeking a way to cope. I wish for things to be different so bad that I would lie to myself to create a facade. But it wasn't the truth. Eventually, the game is over, the high comes down, and reality breaks back in. And the distractions all come to an end, leaving me with the thing I've always been the most afraid of, myself. You see, it wasn't reality that I was afraid of. It was my beliefs about reality that haunted me, and what those beliefs made me that frightened me. I mean, sure, the world is fucked up, but nothing can change if nothing changes. My personal largest depressive episode came not from me facing my world, but from believing that I was powerless to do anything to stop it. And this makes sense. Back in October, when the sleeping masses, myself included, were rudely awakened to the over century-long genocide in Palestine, there was quite a bit of overstimulation. We saw firsthand the brutality of the Zionist state. And it wasn't just that. Quickly, we realized the many displacements, genocides. I had another word in there, I feel like. Genocides, violation of human rights. No, you can leave it. I'll just edit it out. For the first time, we saw the brutality of the Zionist state firsthand through our phone screens. Quickly, though, we realized that it wasn't just Palestine. We realized there were numerous genocides, displacements, and gross violations of human rights being perpetuated at the end of the arm of our imperialist governments. Now, coming face to face with the consequences of all of our actions, we were broken. Some of us for the worst, building trenches of disbelief, blocking out the real world by going deeper into our addictions. Some, though, it broke with... Some still chose to recognize it, yet not understand that voting for one of two war criminals is not going to do anything. Lastly, some of us embraced it. We embraced being broken. We were broken time and time again, repeatedly, building ourselves back stronger and ready and willing to destroy fascism around the world. I can still feel powerless. It can bring me to tears how powerless I feel in comparison to what it is that I want to do. But I can't let that distract me from the truth that I still have privilege. I can still feel powerless sometimes. It can bring me to tears how powerless I feel despite what it is that I want to be able to achieve. However, it is important to recognize that despite my feelings of powerlessness, I still have it. I get the awesome choice to wake up every day and exercise my many privileges. Even if they are deeply intertwined with the war machine that I currently live in, I must not forget them, because they are all essential for one crucial goal: the end of the world as we know it. I don't have the ability to press a single button and change the world into exactly what it is that I would like it to be. However, I do have the ability to forge my own path every single day. Through each interaction, through each chance encounter, I get to choose unity, equality, and peace. Even when I lose my path and falter, it's always towards progress and freedom. This remembrance of privilege and power instills in me a sense of self-empowerment. This is contradictory to addiction. See, I know what I want, how to get it, and what it will truly take to bring it home. These are all things that addiction tries to hide. My failure to face reality may lead me to a state of needing to numb, but my acceptance of it gives me the power to change my position. If I truly believe that there is nothing I can do about where it is that I'm at, then I will only sink further. However, eventually, I could come to a point where I could realize that it was my first step, my second step, and third step towards healing that brought me down the path 10,000 miles long. The path towards home. I can't see the whole picture yet, but I have the paint and I can create whatever it is that I want. I'm not done until my last breath. The counter to addiction is knowledge of self paired with a purpose implemented through action, for through a denial of the world we seek a cope. We must take this into a context when addressing our community that struggle with addiction. We shouldn't shame the coping because the coping makes sense. From the socially acceptable addictions, like caffeine, to ones that are more covert and hidden, to even ones that are on full display, none of these are going to be healed through shame. Just acknowledging me and my addictions is only one part of the process. Past acknowledgement, we need support. And there are genuine, true ways to support me. Accept, love, and include me. See me for who I am. See the child inside of me who is hurt, lost, and confused. Reach out and attempt to accept me as I am. When we try to change anyone for any reason, we come from a place of judgment, of blame, and of shame. However, if we truly accept people, we get a chance to promote their highest self, to truly give them an opportunity to step into themselves and to realize themselves. If you truly wish to help your community, then help yourself. Be a representation of what you believe, rather than instructing other people to live how you desire. If you step into your own highest self, other people will take notice. And while they may not follow your path, they'll have a hell of a lot of support in finding their own. Because when we step into ourselves, we don't expect others to do the same. We can recognize that they've always been perfect without need for help, just as we've been, just as we've always been. This allows someone who is struggling to reach out and be supported in a space of love. This space of love is where true change happens. This is how you love someone. This is how you support them. This is how you help someone who is suffering from addiction.